The world is fast changing and news breaks at lightning speed. Let us guide you through events and stories about global narratives and developments in geopolitics, diplomacy, foreign affairs, and world economy. Get factual and multi-angle perspectives on stories around the globe. Global Television brings you Diplomatic Perspective every Monday and Friday. Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Diplomatic Perspective, the world in front of you.
Hello everyone and welcome to Diplomatic Perspective on Global Television. On Diplomatic Perspective, we look at things happening in Nigeria, in Africa, everywhere around the globe that has to do with diplomacy setting. I have my guests joining me on the program as we look at this topic. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, Engineer Phil Robert is joining us on the conversation right here. And of course, he is going to be telling us more the development in Africa, how tourism can actually contribute to development, especially in Africa. We can even take it further from Africa and look at the whole globe, the impact of this tourism. Of course, Engineer Phil Robert is a tourism consultant, investment, and of course, he is right with us. It's good to have you join us on the conversation today. Thank you for joining us, Phil Robert.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Right. Let's get into the conversation. I've seen your passion as it has to do with tourism and, of course, the development of Africa. You've done so much, but now let's begin by knowing, all right, the importance of tourism as it has to do with development.
Okay, thanks so much. So, like you mentioned, my name is Phil Roberts, and I'm the Director for Tourism and Multilateral Services Relationship here at the Pan-African AU Agenda 2063 Diplomatic Mission. What my office does as in charge of tourism development in Africa is to see how we can use tourism as a tool in bridging the gap between African countries. Tourism is a major marketing tool of every nation. And I also tell people tourism is a major tool for investment. Some time ago, during President Buhari's regime, he signed the pact for the Africa Free Trade Agreement. Until now, that has not been implemented. If that is implemented, tourism is going to be, Africa is going to be having so much of benefits. Like, look at what is happening in South Africa, which is the xenophobia, because Africans have not known who they are. Africa is still struggling to understand that Africa is Africa. We are all brothers. So tourism is a major tool to sell different narratives. That's why tourism is broad. Educational tourism, food tourism, religious tourism, diplomatic tourism, and all of that. So tourism helps you create an atmosphere for you to do business, for you to have fun, for you to have relaxation, for you to have different types of recreational activities, and of course, at the end of the day, do business. So the free trade agreement signed by AU, through President Muhammadu Buhari, was designed to create a borderless Africa. Now, when we have a borderless Africa, people are able to travel from one African country to another African country, because in Africa alone, one of the major issues we have is visa. Visa restriction, visa problem, and all of that is a major problem in Africa. Like I normally tell people that traveling outside Africa most times is cheaper and it's much easier than traveling within Africa. So these are some of the things that tourism can help to resolve. So tourism is a major tool for making Africa to be exposed. Tourism tool is a major tool for making any nation on its own to be exposed. So tourism plays a major role in creating good relationship, which gives investment, and major tool for diplomacy.
Let me ask now, because you are a tourism expert and looking at your office and what you do, how has been, because you just talked about the fact that so many people are not aware of what tourism is all about and its impact. What is the response? Because we're talking about the development of Africa here. Nigeria is Africa. Kenya, you just talked about South Africa and the xenophobia that's going on and all that. Now, what do you think the government needs to do so that at least a lot of people can take advantage of tourism to bring development to Africa, including Nigeria, of course?
So when you talk about development, you talk about infrastructure. There's no development anywhere without infrastructure. Of course, infrastructure takes care of everything that has to do with your life. So of course, having infrastructure is already taking care of the people. So we designed a project called the National Tourism Infrastructural Tourism Development Summit, which is supposed to hold in September 2024 in commemoration of World Tourism Day. If you watch CNN, most times you will hear, you will see subtle adverts like visit Morocco, visit Dubai, or this is Kenya, this is South Africa. All those things are marketing. You understand? And that is what tourism does. So tourism is a major marketing tool for any country, like I've mentioned. Now, you're inviting people to come to your country, to come and see your country. What are they coming to see? They are coming to see the development you have in your country. They are coming to see the way of life of the people. They are coming to see the environment of the people that those people stay. And of course, they're coming to taste the cuisine. China has been able to do a whole lot when it comes to infrastructure and all this. If you visit China, no matter what you go to do in China, if you like go for business, go for anything, you must still go for tourism. You must still go for sightseeing. A lot of all those structures and all of those things that we have in China are all products of infrastructural tourism. In Nigeria, a lot of times we talk about infrastructural development. What have we still done on that? So I usually explain to people that the difference between a tourism site and a tourism destination is a tourism site is just a site that is bare. It's a virgin site. Nothing is there. So this is beautiful, finally. But what makes a tourism destination, what makes a tourism site moves from a tourism site to a tourism destination is infrastructure. When I mean infrastructure, I mean access to the place, which is road, access to hotels, food, lights, telecommunication, internet, Wi-Fi, and all those things. In fact, people who even sell food there, as long as there's transportation and all of that, that is what makes a tourism site become a tourism destination. When it is inhabitable for people to stay and they don't need to be in a haste to leave the place because of insecurity or all of that. That is when a tourism site becomes a tourism destination. So Nigeria is still struggling to move up to that space of becoming an infrastructural tourism destination. Look at what the FCT minister did when he came into power. He made infrastructure his major tool for development, and he started lots of infrastructure development in Abuja. So that is the thing we're talking about. So for tourism to thrive in every developing nation or every country that wants it to be serious, they must take infrastructure seriously. Once you take infrastructure seriously, people will not be able to do business. Of course, when you have power is a major tool of infrastructure. Once you have power, you can do the factories will work, the manufacturing sector is going to be working. Of course, power handles a whole lot of food and all of that. So that is why we keep talking about infrastructure is the major tool for making tourism thrive in every economy. And I normally tell people that it's also a two-way thing. The government has their own role to play. So government plays 30% of their role in making tourism work, while you as private sector, as a citizen of that country, you play 70%. So government's job is creating an enabling environment for tourism to thrive, while you as a practitioner and as a citizen, as a patriotic citizen of your country, your job is to play 70%. That is why it's called public-private partnership. So it's a PPP. So everybody comes together to make tourism work in their own country, not just the government. So high time we stop pushing the blame to government, even though government has the greater part of the blame, because if they don't create that 30%, our own 70% will not work.
All right, let's do a
Thank you.
holistic assessment of the potentials in tourism. Now we are looking at Africa, not Africa alone, but the whole world. If Nigerians, for instance, we know that people travel for tourism. There is what they call a tourism visa, where you go for spend a few months and you return. Now, let's look at the strength. You've already said we Nigerians and Africa shouldn't just focus on the government alone, but then individuals also have roles to play. You've been doing so much in that aspect. Now, let's look at the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture in Nigeria, for instance. If you have the opportunity to meet with the minister one-on-one, what would be your recommendations? And I don't know if you've done an assessment of the activity and how it's in line, whether it's in line with the potentials available in tourism.
So like I said, government has 30% to play, which has to do with policy development and policy, or a couple of all those their bill and all of that, which is passing the National Assembly and all of that. So the job of government still remains 30%. So what you see the minister doing is her own 30%. Everything she's doing going around, because their job is very demanding also. So, but once they create that enabling environment, we as the practitioners, our job is to make sure that we move on from there and achieve the goal. But first of all, if you must be in tourism, you must be patriotic. You must be able to love your country, because you cannot promote what you don't like. You understand? So being in tourism is like promoting your own house or promoting your own family. Your marketing. So most times I even tell people that I think the layman word for tourism is marketing, because you are marketing your country. You are seeing your country as a product, as a destination. You understand? So the minister and the people in the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, what they do is just policy development. What they do is diplomatic actions. What they do is to merge business, trade and investment together from different countries and bring all of them together. Of course, a couple of these countries can't do business with you at that government level, except government to government. So we have B2G and we have B2B. So we in the industry is to look out for those great areas, those opportunities that we think tourism can benefit and the practitioners can benefit, and we push that to government and the practitioners and all of that. So we promote what we have. As of course, as someone in the industry also, you expose and showcase some of these destinations. You show government that there is a destination here, and we think by developing this destination, it can also bring more attraction. Because in tourism, you do whatever you can do to make sure you bring in the right set of attraction to your community or to your country. You understand? You just want to bring that publicity advertisement and make sure that people know about your country. And the job of government is to make it loud. So I tell a lot of young people, instead of you to go on TikTok and social media and be dragging your country, why don't you look for a destination in your place and promote it? Even if you tell a story, in tourism we tell a story, we tell stories of a destination. You pick a destination and you turn it into a story. It is not a destination until people don't want to go there, until they hear that sweet story about that place. You understand? So when you have a destination or you discover a destination, you let government know about it. Government helps you and do the little they can to support you, and they make it big. They make it go viral, but by involving their various mechanisms. You understand? Thank God for the advent of social media now. So social media makes everything viral. You understand? So government's role is just policy and all of that. Like what we have in NTDA, we have an agency under government called NTDA. So NTDA is Nigeria Tourism Development Authority. So the job of Nigeria Tourism Development Authority is to look out for tourism destinations and tourism sites and look forward to their different organs on investing in those tourism destinations and make it big. So that is what NTDA does. Thank you.
You were talking about where we're in the era of social media and the digital age, where you can actually make people outside your country see destinations that are beautiful, that could at least make tourists come to the country. Now, because it is in two ways, it's either instead of traveling to that country, you can actually view it on social media and feel like you are in that country. And it's another thing again for you not to be able to explore based on understanding the opportunities available in the digital space. So now, what would you have to say about the digital age and of course tourism? Can we say, well, the ICT world, the digital world now is an advantage or a disadvantage because some persons might be wherever they are, view whatever they want to view from any country based on the digital age that we are and don't travel for tourism anymore. So what would you have to say about that before we talk about Africa 2026?
Okay, so when you talk about the digital age and of course the advent of AI and some of all these things that we're talking, is something that is affecting everywhere. Now, don't forget we have something that we call virtual tourism. Now, the VAR is what China is even promoting. For some of those places that you can't visit, you can wear the 3D and some of all those virtual tourism gadgets and all of that, and you will see as if you are in that place. Now, people also pay money for that. You go to a place where they are promoting the virtual tourism business, and you pay some money to experience that. You understand? So tourism is large. You make money from everywhere. You understand? But in issue of tourism, that you need to be creative. So in tourism, you've not gone to that place, but you are not using VAR. You are still making money in tourism. So in tourism, no aspect is lost. Whether you go there and experience it naturally or live, you are also using your VAR, you're experiencing it live. That is still tourism. The money is still coming into tourism. That's how we operate in tourism. Because even at the venue or the shop or whatever that you want to go and use the VAR, you will spend transport. You will spend money to go there. You will buy fuel if you're driving. If you get there, you will eat food. If you get there, you will drink water. If you get there, you will make phone call. The VAR, whatever, is also going to be used by internet or, you understand, Wi-Fi and all of that. That all those money is still assets of tourism. So it's the same thing. So wherever you are and enjoying tourism, tourism is still making back its money. So that is why we encourage people to be creative about it. Now, a couple of other countries use the VAR because they've seen that they don't want to lose from any angle of tourism. Maybe you are too busy. Right now, I'm supposed to be in your TV station, but I couldn't make it because of my schedule here in the office. We have to use Zoom. So this is part of the thing we are saying. So we are not still losing out. We are still achieving the same purpose. We are achieving the same purpose. I didn't drive down to your office to have this interview, but I'm using my data to have this interview. I'm using my gadgets. Of course, I'm still spending money. This money also goes to the Nigerian government. So whether I'm driving that, if I drive down with my fuel or whatever, I will spend money, my tax and all of that, the revenue still goes to the government. I'm using my internet to do this live streaming, it still goes. So in one way or the other, every government that knows what they're doing is making money. So that's why I would tell you that in tourism, you need to be creative if you want to make money in tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we try to round up right now, a lot of people are into tourism, some are consultants. We even have people from other countries who come to Nigeria, and people from Nigeria go out to organize programs, events, bringing Africa together because united we stand and divided we fall. As it is, the Africa Day 2026, for instance, have a team, have a purpose, have something it wants to achieve. A lot of people have had programs like that in the past. Of what advantage are programs like this, which brings people together from different parts of Africa?
You understand? The Africa Day celebration was designed in 1963. Now, the African Union, of course, which is the umbrella body of the African countries, hosting the 54 African countries, looked at numbers of African countries that have gained independence, and they were like, it's time for Africa to be liberated. And of course, Africa needs to celebrate her and celebrate her feat. And that was how that was passed, and they decided that on the 25th of May every year, Africa must be celebrated. Africa must use this as a day for reflection, to look at how far Africa has gone. Look at what is happening in South Africa, retreat again. Is because we don't know our history. So if you don't know your history, if you don't know where you are coming from, you don't know where you are going. So African Union decided that on the 25th of May every year should be celebrated at the Africa Day. Now, this is a diplomatic decision, and this is designed for diplomats to come together and go back to the motherland, go back to the vision of the Africa Union establishment, and of course, as a tool to remind Africa that in unity we stand. We are all Africans. You understand? So it's a story, it's a big story to remember the heroes of Africa, the people who have fought for Africa, where Africa is right now. That is what Africa Day is designed to do. So we now, in the Pan-African AU Agenda 2063 under the African Union diplomatic mission here, we decided that this is going to be celebrated big in Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria is the mother of Africa, that they normally say. And this program has been celebrated different every year by diplomats at the diplomatic angles. It's not really made exposed to other Africans. We decided that no, it's our time we come outside and let Africans know that 25th of May is your birthday. So we've also created different programs that is geared to achieving this. On the 23rd is a 3-day program. On the 23rd is a liberation walk, where Africa is liberated and our minds go back to liberation and how we got our unity and all of that. 24th is going to be a cultural concert, an African cultural concert, which is going to be held in Jabi Lake Mall. You understand? From 4 p.m. At the Jabi Lake Mall by the waterside is a cultural concert with different Africans coming in. And the last day, which is on the 25th, Africa Day proper, is going to be a summit at the International Society at the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution. Now, all of this have been put together to celebrate Africa. All this have put together for us to go back and have a reflection on where we are and where we are going. Now, all these programs are designed to celebrate Africa. Now, tourism plays a major role because people are coming in, people are going out, people are going to be eating food, people are going to be staying in hotels, people will be making calls. There's a whole lot that will be happening. So all these things, tourism is going to be benefiting. And of course, going through the city of Abuja as somebody who just came into Nigeria, or as a diplomat, or somebody who came for the program, you're already having this sightseeing, you're spending money. All this money is being generated here in Nigeria, of course, which is now becoming internal generated revenue. So that is what tourism is benefiting. So tourism benefits from every angle of the way for different projects. And Africa Day Celebration 2026, which is happening this weekend, where Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is the biggest tourism program that is going to be happening in Africa this year. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Engineer Phil Robert, for joining us on the conversation today. This is going to be the size of the program because our time is already up. Well, we want to say Africa is a great continent, and of course, much is expected from it. United we stand, and divided we fall. Once again, I want to say a very big thank you to you for being part of the program today.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye for now.
affect our plans a lot because we initially came here with no plan of all where to go. We just said we'd get 5 nights accommodation in Bangkok, would hold up there, and then we'll kind of figure out our plan from there. And the fact that there's a 60-day visa means like you have a lot of kind of room to play around with, and like it means you can kind of like enjoy all the things that there is to see in Thailand without worrying too much about like your visa running out or anything like that. I think a 30-day visa though would really restrict you in what you can see in Thailand. Like
current rule, some people will abuse them no matter what the rule is. I don't think changing the rule will change the people and their behavior.
Yeah, there's ways to go around it. If you're gonna go around the way of like trying to do the visa runs, they will kind of crack down on you if you're doing it too much. If it's your first time, that's okay. But multiple times, if you really love the country, do the visa, get the longer term visa, and you know it's worth it. Especially learning Thai, it's not been hard for me. I think people love Thailand too much to be. They'll find a way to come back. And it's a thing of, I think they're kind of trying to reduce the numbers that are coming, but it won't. It's like the #1 tourist destination right now. Like so many people are coming to Thailand. It will very little affect it. Like it's very, very tiny, but people are still gonna come. They'll find a way. If they have to stay in India for a month just to come back to Thailand, people will do it. So yeah.
รู้สึกเห็นด้วยเนาะเวลาเราไปประเทศอื่นเราต้องขอวีซ่าเพื่อความปลอดภัยของประเทศนั้นเราก็อยากให้ประเทศเราอ่ะมันมีความปลอดภัยมากกว่านี้เพราะว่ายิ่งนักท่องเที่ยวเยอะหลายประเทศเข้ามาเยอะอาชญากรต่างๆมันก็เยอะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะคิดว่าไม่ค่อยเห็นด้วยกับเรื่องฟรีวีซ่าเท่าไหร่ค่ะคิดว่ามันควรมีมาตรการป้องกันหรือว่ามาตรการคัดกรองคนที่จะเข้ามาให้หนาแน่นกว่านี้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ
All right, everyone, this is the size of the conversation. There is a lot of potential in Africa. And of course, these potentials can be utilized if we know what we need to do and where these potentials can actually be channeled. This is the size of diplomatic perspective for you today on Global Television. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Bye-bye for now.
The world is fast changing and news breaks at lightning speed. Let us guide you through events and stories about global narratives and developments in geopolitics, diplomacy, foreign affairs, and world economy. Get factual and multi-angle perspectives on stories around the globe. Global Television brings you Diplomatic Perspective every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Diplomatic Perspective, the world in front of you.